breaking out the family camcorder when I was growing up. Tapes upon tapes of me as a teenager and as a preteen that lived in the basement of my house.
There's a few here or there of like baseball games, like other boring shit.
We were poor, and if we ever had something as fancy as a video camera, it would have been pawned.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe
Maybe retrieved one day.
it may be retrieved one day in like 6 months.
ALPHANUMERIC. Why'd you do it? You're prepared for a giant monster made entirely of nulls stomping around mainframe? How do you plan for that? Lucky guess?
I don't know what part that is because I don't give a fuck about trains. There's whipped cream where we're going, boys.
An icosahedron.
Icosahedron every day.
Sometimes twice a day.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Alphanumeric, the foremost reboot podcast. This is episode 49, and I am one of your hosts, NeoCal.
And I'm one of the...
Oh, and I am joined by the prestigious Firestarter, Christopher Siege.
Yeah, I'm made sure I'm a fire starter. I burn CDs like nobody's business in 2001 when people were doing that a lot.
You were that kid, the cool kid where people slipped you a $5 and you opened your jacket and you were like, "What are you buying?"
yeah. So I was the kid who I didn't have a CD burner, but my grandparents did. So all my friends would be like, "Hey, can you burn me a CD?" And they'd give me a track list and a $5 bill. And then I would go to my grandparents' house and be like, "Yeah, I want to burn this CD from me."
Yeah.
And they didn't pay close enough attention to my musical taste to realize that, oh, this guy who's like listening to like Fear Factory and Hypocrisy and 6 Feet Under is downloading a bunch of rap songs.
This just in, grandparents don't give a shit about what their grandchildren listen
Oh
to.
yeah, well exactly. Yeah. That's my point. So I was able to get away with it pretty easily. So 20 plus years later, grandma and grandpa, I'm sorry, I guess.
You know who's great at getting away, particularly running away, particularly running with mass groups of people with numbers on their chests. Lady Glitch.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. And thank you for that wonderful intro, Cal. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I struggled to try to find any amount of joke that had to do with doing marathons.
So I feel a bit rotundo, but I was struggling to figure out what you were actually talking about. But then when you mentioned marathons, I'm like, there it is.
I did it.
I get it.
We did it, folks.
We did do it. I'm actually a Chicago marathon medal I earned last October. Kind of have it as a thing to play with as we talk about this wonderful episode of ReBoot.
Yes, we can't. We can't all have an entire desk, an entire half of a desk just littered with literal dozens of Beast Wars toys.
Or an entire wall dedicated to 8 years of running medals.
Okay, so we all got different things. So I've got my fidget, my stress balls. One's a Pokeball, one's a grenade. I actually have like 3 others over there. One's the question block from Mario. They're of different textures and squeezabilities.
Nice.
Yeah. Like this one's the softest.
I now know Christmas.
Siege has the Transformers wall.
Yeah,
Lady Glitch.
What?
Lady Glitch, you got the medals. Mm-hmm. Probably coffee somewhere within arm's reach.
Yeah, there's no flexing going on here, ladies and gentlemen. This is just things we're surrounded in that we fidget with.
This is our archetype. This is our caricature.
Mhm.
One of us has Transformers. One of us has soft things to squeeze so that they don't their ADD is focused, and the other one has coffee and smooth metallic metals to ease their minds.
If the show ever becomes too much for me and I decide that I've just had enough and must commit seppuku, I do also have throwing daggers directly in front of me.
Alternatively, throwing daggers are great for throwing at enemies.
That too.
So if it ever becomes too much, why commit seppuku when you could commit Sudoku? And
If you ever need to defend your turf,
never go full Sudoku.
Never go full viral.
Never go full viral.
Mhm.
Folks, I think that we are reviewing season 4, episode 6 of ReBoot. It's called Life's a Glitch.
Amen to that.
I think it would be more interesting if it was, because then we could see through the Matrix.
How do you know we're not living in the Matrix right now?
Oh,
I don't
let's
see enough
not
black cats like walk across my field of vision.
that is a can of worms that we can dedicate an entire podcast unto itself to. That we don't need to. People are here for the reboot. Is for the
If
reboot.
you want to hear me spend 6 hours, 8 hours of me talking about that, we kind of do on Patreon.
More than 8 hours, because most of those movies are more than 2 hours long.
10. Let's round it up to 10.
Yeah.
10 hours of contemplating existence.
Yeah, if you want to hear us talk about the Matrix, you can do that by going to Patreon, patreon.com/lasercomb. We did commentary tracks for all 4 Matrix movies, including that new one that no one likes, except Cal.
Me. Me and my partner.
There's
two people like it.
There's a video I gotta send you. It won't change your mind or anything, but he raises a lot of good points. It's this YouTube channel that I've been following since like 2015. Fanboy Flicks. I discovered him because he does a great 2-part video dedicated to the movie Samurai Cop. And I've kind of been casually watching his movies since, but he has like a 35-minute video called The Matrix Resurrections is a Disaster. And he is actually quite fair. Like that title is kind of bombastic, but he is actually quite fair in his criticisms, and I agree with most of the points he makes. So I'll send you a link to it.
Okay.
Not trying to change your mind or anything. Just he raised a lot of the same points and issues that I have, and liked a lot of the same things about the movie that I did, that I perhaps didn't convey as succinctly in the commentary track.
My less than stellar neighbors their eviction is up. So if there are mysterious slamming noises and swearing, it's because the trailer trash filth is not that there's anything wrong with that. I come from the trailer park, but they needed to go. And so they are. I say in a loud booming voice is like the walls are paper thin.
I come from the trailer park through Walmarts, meth labs, and liquor stores to this place.
To this place. Vancouver Island. My format.
Podcaster.
My format, not having a job.
my format, welfare.
We could work on that. My partner's laughing. My format, podcaster, to rant and defend my fandom.
Well, see,
and to defend it from Twitter. Da-da-da-da-da.
Well, see, that doesn't really connect at all to the whole like white trash thing that
No.
I was going with.
No. I know it's hard to
I was going for a theme, you know. Walmart, meth labs, liquor stores.
Yeah. Also, we wouldn't be able
Welfare
to do
checks.
this week to week because we would have like pawned our monitors and computers. And
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with that. Listen, we
Not a
have
little
preamble. We have preamble on Patreon. If you want to get to know our colorful histories, we talk about that a lot on the preamble of today's podcast. But enough about selling ourselves on the Patreon. We got Life's a Glitch to cover.
We got
And
streets to
exciting.
sell ourselves on, damn it.
That's right. We got burned CDs to sell out of our trench coats, which we were both trench coat
Maybe
kids.
we need to put like another tier on Patreon where I turn into my alternate persona Sky, because I do work at a nightclub, and that's like, you know, after hours. That's the after podcasting area.
Yeah, if you want to know more about that, go listen to the preamble there.
That can be $100 tier.
That's $100 tier, and it comes with a 30-second video.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
This video will self-destruct.
Yeah, you only get one.
Don't worry, Chief. I'm always ready to screenshot.
How can one truly own an NFT when I can right click and hit save as? Okay, what are we doing here, folks?
What are we doing? Let's start talking about ReBoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life's a Glitch. This is a weird one. What happens to Wellman?
When did Life's a Glitch originally air?
That, oh man, I forgot that we cared about that.
Yeah.
Every episode.
I'm usually not the one that cares about it. No. Let's check this out, people.
November 16, 2001. I have the book.
2001.
As
Boy, wow.
As a standalone episode, although as part of the My Two Bobs movie, once again, it originally aired on November 25th, 2001 in Canada. Because, as I've mentioned, for every episode this season, but if you're just joining us, in Canada, the 8th season of ReBoot originally aired as 2 TV movies, titled Damon Rising and My Two Bobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you always maintain that they're better movies.
Yeah.
And
I still do.
I'll have to watch like them in the movie chunks, but
That's what I'm planning on once we get done with all of this.
This episode is it's bringing me over to your your side of things, because this feels like it's following like a first act.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
Filler. Yeah. I don't want to give away what I think about the episode, but feels a little filler. But there is a lot of information, questions that we've asked here on the show, Alphanumeric, kind of like answered. The conversation between Dot and Fong at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that the null that was Enzo and Dot's father is just acting like another null again. Nibbles.
Yeah. Well, that's because hexadecimal's gone, and it was her magic that was giving him the ability to
remember and
to
sentience.
actually and control that like weird like robo suit that he had. So
just the mass of nulls or whatever. Yeah.
No, he was a null like sitting on top of like a robot body for a little while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're in the principal office, and speaking of the nulls, Fong is doing some experiments.
He's doing a science.
Science.
And it seems that they can reverse the nullification process by bringing in this weird kind of it looks like an 80s like a nuclear device from an action movie. It's a big device that's supposed to capture the game data if they go into a game with it. And when it captures the game data, any sprites that were nullified by that game theoretically can be turned back to sprites.
But Dot mentions that like how is this going to help since Professor Wellman wasn't nullified by a game. And so I was wondering earlier in the season, like how like up here it had heretofore only been established that characters can only be nullified by games, but now it seems like there are, and we with the flashback of the destruction of Lost Angles, we saw that like that's why there are so many nulls over there, is because of the explosion. So it seems like maybe now it isn't just games that can nullify things, maybe just like any kind of like massive like burst of energy.
Remember that was like one of our, or at least mine, one of my nitpicks. I was like, but wait a second, it was an explosion. Why were they nullified?
I was complaining about it too. Yeah.
I'm glad that it actually is kind of trying to address that. So props to that, at least.
But will we get an explanation beyond this?
I'm sure there's an anti-explosion that will rebuild Lost Angles and restore all the nulls.
Oh, okay, so they'll divert auxiliary power from the warp core into the deflector dish and fire an antimatter wave to create an antimatter reverse tachyon explosion.
This guy Star Treks. That sounds just as legit as any other Star Trek shenanigans.
Well, and my very rudimentary understanding of like space stuff that I have outside of watching Star Trek, what I said was basically nonsense. It makes sense in the context of Star Trek. What I just said in an episode of Star Trek would fucking fix the problem, like 100%.
Perfect science in Star Tronk.
But actual science, like.
All I know is tachyons make it so that you get cancer and Dr. Manhattan can't see the future.
I think what tachyons actually are is they are particles that are in constant motion at the speed of light.
Theoretically, they're
I don't even think they're theoretical. I think tachyons are hypothetical.
The reason they're often associated with time is because I think they're theoretical, actually, is because, like you said, faster than light, which presumably breaks space-time.
Time dilation.
So they use, exactly. So it's sci-fi talk for, you need to go back in time, or you need to stop somebody from seeing the future. Tachyons. Just a face full of tachyons.
Tachyon pulses are actually a pretty common thing in Star Trek.
I take your word for it. You know anything about tachyons, Lady Glitch?
I'm sorry?
Okay, correct answer. Thank you. The cool thing is to not know about tachyons. Tachyons. Do you know anything about those?
No.
Good.
That
Good.
I'm busy actually watching the next scene because now we got Mike the TV back doing his shit, and he's very focused on little Enzo, and he's making up all kinds of weird hypotheses about him.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing some guerrilla filmmaking here.
And it's so funny because they've got the other four. They got Matrix Andrea, Little Enzo, Copy Bob, and Cecil that are like fucking around in the diner, like while all this is happening, and like Matrix is chasing Cecil around like he's gonna kill him or something.
It's paparazzi footage because it looks like it's shot like with a shaky cam from the outside. Little Enzo's like making faces at the camera. And what are they doing? They're like, go ahead.
It's a show called Little Brother, virtual reality TV.
Little Brother.
Little Brother.
I was a fan of Big Brother.
Mike the TV makes makes a joke here. That's my favorite joke this season thus far.
What does he say?
He like looks back at his butt and he's like, "Does this aspect ratio make my butt look big?"
That's good.
Especially because the show is now in 16:9 this season for the first time ever. Does this aspect ratio make my butt look big?
And as a photographer, I can appreciate that humor.
Yeah, well, and I'm kind of I'm kind of a like my mild video nerd, so at least I used to be.
The good old days. And this is the episode that reminds you, hey, we're aware of the shenanigans that we haven't answered, because in this little broadcast by Mike, he brings up like, oh, what was it that hexadecimal did to little Enzo's icon? Right. So they're touching on all of these like little loose plot threads, which I like, which they will inevitably answer in the next couple episodes.
Well, and it's also like that stuff happened in the last movie. And this is another movie, so they're like kind of reminding viewers like, hey, remember that? Remember that?
Yeah, that was us.
That happened.
We get a weird, I mean, the show's full of it, especially this episode. We get a little sitcom trope of like Dot in the principal office walking back and forth and being like, oh, but there's Glitch Bob and there's OG Bob. And
she's trying to have girl time with Mouse. It's like something out of Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, and this is actually like a kind of a recurring thing in this episode. People like going to Mouse and asking them advice, and Mouse's advice is always just telling them to do whatever. Whenever she raises a point and they say raise a counterpoint, she just tells them to do whatever the counterpoint they raised was. So she's not even giving advice. She's just being agreeable.
Like, oh, to be fair, she can't answer. Yeah.
No, that is fair, but it's just it's funny. She's just like, we'll do this. Oh, okay, we'll do this then. Oh,
because she's like,
okay, we'll do that then.
OG Bob he's OG Bob, and there's so much like that's who I fell in love with, and she's like, okay, then choose OG Bob. Oh, but like Glitch Bob, like he saved us all, and am I the only one who like? Are there people on the show, or is it just the viewer that's well aware that like OG Bob is more likely copy?
Is the big old faker?
Yeah, but all of the people on the show are acting like Bob with no guardian knowledge, with very loose memories, all the Bob that's went through shit and has memories of everything up to this point. Ooh, Glitch Bob's the copy. And I'm like, how? We know his backstory all the way back to when he left the web.
Yeah, I think it's because people are just afraid of intelligence and knowledge. And the more in-depth something is, the more that they don't want to do their research, and they just look at like the outer shell, and they go off of visual and how they feel, not with actual, logic.
Dummies.
Yeah, we got this Bob. This Bob looks like the old Bob, and he sounds like the old Bob, except he's talking like this all the time.
It was definitely deeper when he first showed up. Do you agree?
It was deeper in this episode too.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So after we get a little Glitch Bob talk, he's going to Fong and he's like, hey Fong, give me the password so I can like hack the principal office and like separate like Glitch and me. And Fong is like, why? And he's like, to get the girl, baby. Sorry, we just watched Space Dandy, and I'm adding baby to every sentence. It's terrible.
Yeah, go check out the Lasercomb podcast, episode 23, if you want to hear what that's all about.
I have a pompadour. Well, for like 5 minutes. And he's like, hey, come on, I got to separate myself so that like, I can look like normal Bob. And my heart kind of goes out to him there. I'm like, oh. And he's not doing this because he feels he needs to. He's doing it because he wants to win Dot. And that kind of sucks because this is Bob. And the other guy's like a 3D printed Bob. Like it's not quite right. It's okay. It's okay. But there's something off about it. And I don't know. I'm team Cheetor Bob myself. You were feeling that too, Siege? You're feeling that?
Yeah. I'm sure I mentioned that on last week's episode.
Yeah. My heart goes out to him because he's doing dangerous things in order to change for somebody.
He's talking about splicing code and, separating himself from his key tool. He just keeps asking Fong for the password, and Fong is like, he's trying to deflect the fact that A, we don't have the technology here in mainframe to do this, and B, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and Bob is like, well, yeah, of course you don't have the technology. It's like never been done before, but like give me access to the archives and maybe I can splice some code together and figure something out. And I like his solution in that he jumping ahead a little bit, but he builds the chamber from the fucking fly.
There's like, are there 2 or 3? However he does it, it is like
there's 3 of them.
Exact. There's 3 of them.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. But yeah, if you're watching the video, you can see behind me. My background is a shot from the movie, the Fly remake, David Cronenberg's Fly. And yeah, Bob builds 3 of these to split himself from Glitch, which seems legit to me.
Seems legit to me. I mean, if a fly and a human can go in one and have their DNA like merged, maybe the opposite is true. It worked out for him in The Fly.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a child, gotta be honest. I watched it at way too young of an age.
Oh man, I was like 8. What the hell was wrong with me? Lady Glitch, have you seen it?
I was younger than that. I was like probably like 5 or 6.
Well, that's a good way to scar yourself for life. Wow. Yep. Have you seen it, Lady Glitch?
No.
Add that to the growing list.
Didn't The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror on that, Cal?
What's that?
When Bart turns into a fly.
Oh, it's basically that. Yeah. So never mind. Okay,
that
counts. It's basically that. Yeah. So what's going on here? There's kind of like this dialogue everywhere. They want to go in the game, right?
Yeah, there's a game that's coming. Specky's down in the war room. Is like, sir, man, we got some game energy building up, and it might, be in Kit sector. And then Dot's like taking the helm over here. It's like, alert everybody, do this, do that.
They're doing game prep. They're like, come on, let's go. And Fong's like, yippee-ki-yay, I'm going too. And they're like, what, you? And he's like,
hack and/or slash calls Dot mum.
I do that. Yeah.
And there's this like weird little bit with the other one being like, oh, ma'am. What do you mean? No, Matt, you said mum. It's ma'am. All right. It's a weird, it was such a like dumb, like throwaway joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dot tells Hack and/or Slash that if Fong's going in the game because he's taking this big like code breaker type thing.
Yeah.
Go find the code smasher and do some code stuff.
And it's very paint by it's very paint. Go find the code smasher, if only.
This code collector, this code dump, if you will.
Yeah, old man Pearson never vowed to never blast code again, and he broke his wand, his magical girl wand. That would have made that episode so much better if old man Pearson like card captor Sakura like did a little like circle and like transformed.
Yeah, right.
In Silent Hill 3, there's a weapon you can unlock called the Heather Beam. That when you equip it, it's basically like a lightsaber, but when you equip it, you actually get a like Sailor Moon type like flourish where her entire outfit transforms.
A magical girl.
Yeah.
That effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little magic little like the magical wand type thing.
Yeah, except in that game it's a lightsaber.
Right, because it's a weapon you can beat enemies with.
Yep.
Oh man. Magical girl. Right. Well, we do get kind of some magical girl things going on because everybody and their dog is in, well, actually everybody except the dog is in this game.
They're all heading toward the game, and when Matrix and Andrea like spot Hack and or Slash like flying in with Fong, I like Matrix's reaction here. He's like, "Oh, great! What are they doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, the only way this could get any worse is if Enzo showed up."
Like, where is Enzo at? Oh, Cecil is watching him.
Yeah.
And of course, it cuts to Cecil. Oh, they keep calling him Cecil, and it like hurts my soul.
It's like no
like
wonder
everyone does.
It's like no wonder this guy doesn't like any of them. They
Right?
can't even be bothered to pronounce his name properly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking after Enzo. And it cuts to him, and little Enzo is flying away on a zip board, and Cecil is just like drawing a cup, and he's like, "What do I look like? A nanny?" Which is like a throwback to.
Yeah, he's used that line many a times in the past.
And I'm like, good for you, Cecil. You know,
Right.
you're not paid for that.
Hell no.
You can't even leave the store. Also,
Well,
what is he gonna do?
well,
He's
we did
two
see it.
arms.
We did see in one episode he was attached to a zip board.
Almost like a little rotocopter, right? When they were looking for survivors,
Yeah. So he could leave the store if he wants to.
Theoretically, yeah.
I like to think that he's being kept there.
Yeah.
Some sort of indentured servant.
Mm-hmm. So
A
before we
deal.
Or perhaps he was in a prior life. He was like a globe-trotting like art thief or something, like in the vein of like the Thomas Crown affair or something like that. And he got caught, and his punishment is he tried to steal some like prized piece of art from Fong's office in the principal office, and his penance is that he has to serve out a certain amount of time without any legs, just being like chained to the
On a rail.
on a rail to the in Dot's diner.
You know what? That's weird, but I dig it. He got caught trying to steal a Fong NFT, and now he's paying off his sentence in Dot's diner.
He's paying off his sentence in energy shakes.
Yeah. Oh, right. So he gets commission on what he said. No, he doesn't. He'd be selling things way harder.
Yeah.
He acts barely interested in anything.
Yeah.
So there is an oddity. The only person who's not interested in going to the game is Glitch Bob. He's hanging out with Mouse. Well,
Yeah.
at least over a vid window.
Yeah, he keeps trying to access the archives, and you see all the folders just say access denied. It's like, Glitch Bob, you suck at this.
Yeah, she hacks him in.
Yeah.
She's like, there you go, sugar. Notice that Mouse only exists in this episode via vid window. I don't know where she is, but she's probably doing Mouse things.
She was only via vid window in the last episode too. Because remember, that's when we finally got to see Ray Tracer, and he was like trying to vid bomb.
Like, yeah, I like that. Poking his head in and getting pushed away.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let somebody who's more enthusiastic about this game go for it, but yeah,
I'll take it away. I like this game.
Please.
Go ahead.
So the gang lands in this in basically World 4 of Super Mario Brothers 3, where everything's giant.
Level 4, World 4, Big Land.
Yeah, World 4, yeah. No, it's Toy Story. It's what they're going for here. So it's like they reboot, or they land in a giant ass kitchen sink, and they're all like action figure size, basically.
Yep.
And
They're afraid of little Enzo rebooting for some reason.
the icon that Hexadecimal fucked with.
They don't know what it does.
They still don't know what it does yet.
Yep.
I don't think it plays a part in what he reboots into, but what he reboots into was pretty cringeworthy for me.
So
But
they
we'll get
go, they say, "Oh man, you rebooted into a mannequin," and I'm like, "That's a marionette.
Yeah.
That a mannequin."
Mannequins are
do you-
still marionettes
so
by degrees.
there's a joke here.
Okay, yeah. Explain. I was hoping there was something I missed.
He reboots into Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Episode 1 as a puppet. Mannequin Skywalker was a common joke to describe
His acting.
was a common joke to describe the character in Star Wars Episode 1. And that's why when he's talking, he is talking like this. He's still like giving a really terrible performance.
I hated that.
Okay.
It's cringy, but the whole bit with what Enzo reboots into is a jab at little Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Episode 1.
Today I learned.
Right.
And that's why
And
they're like,
Big
oh, you're
Enzo is Darth Vader.
and Big Enzo is Darth Vader, yeah.
I would have never have. If he had looked.
And later on,
like
Bob
a
says,
little Jedi, I
Luke,
would've-
use the sauce.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he calling him Luke?
It's a pretty it's an extremely dated and pretty eye roll worthy joke, but like
Well, at least I know.
I figured out what they were going for immediately as soon as I'm like, he looks like Anakin Skywalker. And then I'm like, and he's a puppet. Yeah, he does, totally. I'm like, oh, and he's a puppet, but they call him a mannequin Skywalker, right? His like the weird way he's talking is a jab at the kid. What was his name? Jake Lloyd, I think.
He's wearing a tunic. Even though his skin's green and he's like,
he's got the same
Pinocchio-ish,
hairstyle. Yeah.
He's got the haircut. Okay, I'm on board. He's a kid, man. Why
Listeners, I don't even like Star Wars.
why are people mean to children acting? They have literally not been on the planet long enough to learn how to act, let alone hit puberty. And you guys want gold from them?
There
small
have
rant.
been some great child actors out there, but Jake Lloyd was not one of them. But also the abuse that he suffered online, like that he suffered in the early days of the internet, like really fucked him up. Apparently, he was bullied throughout school. And he ended up with like a shit ton of mental health problems. I think he has like paranoid schizophrenia or something now. And last I heard, he was in jail for like trying to steal a car or something like that.
Shit.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. And
It's that whole ethics question of should children be in television and movies?
It's also kind of like what's going on with the Olympics right now with regard to the women's figure skating crap that's happening with the Russians.
Because they say that they're of legal age, but then like 10-year-olds show up and you're like,
well, no,
not-
they're doping.
Yeah, they're doping.
well, sorry, I'm
And-
thinking about China, where their gymnasts showed up and they were all like 11 and 12-year-olds. And it's like, wait,
Yeah. Yeah, Valieva is only 15, but she's already, under scrutiny for doping, and they're trying to pass it off on grandpa took his heart medication and she, got a positive result through osmosis, that kind of crap. So right now you got a 15-year-old at the top of her game, beating everybody else's ass, but she's also going to be facing scrutiny for the rest of her life because the IOC who runs.
They also found other drugs in her system too. I just saw it today.
They're like, if you medal, like nobody gets medal. Like you're not going to have your ceremony until we get your case done. That's why we haven't done team podium ceremonies yet, because Russians got first because of her. And they're all like, nobody gets to do anything until we sort this out. So calm down.
it's okay. We have other people's blood and urine right here, ready to go.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, when she gets back home to Russia, like she's still 15 years old. She's a fucking kid. And she's going to be living with this for the rest of her life. Like the controversy surrounding her that caused all this.
I'm sure it wasn't her choice to take any of those either.
Probably
I
not.
have no,
One thing I will say about the whole stuff with Jake Lloyd too,
Hmm.
Star Wars fan base also be pretty toxic. It's one of the things that that has kind of like pushed me away from like I kind of casually like Star Wars throughout my life. Like I think everybody does at
Yeah,
least to.
everybody thinks lightsabers are cool. Come on.
Yeah. Like I like the original trilogy just fine. Like I've seen all of the movies. The last one was like one of the worst, one of the most incompetently written films I've ever seen in my life. Um, but yeah, with especially with the whole stuff, like few years back with Kelly Marie Tran and like what
Mm.
she was dealing with, like it just no, I'm there. There are far better movies and television shows out there with much less shit of a fan base. So
Hmm.
Yeah, I fell in love with Star Wars when I was in the 5th grade. I was like barely 10 years old then. And just the original trilogy for me. That's it. When we start coming out prequels and sequels and all this other happy horseshit, and then all this spin-off TV shows and books, and well, I have no problem with books, but
What about the Christmas special?
what? I'm not talking about the Christmas special. I'm talking about, the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian and all this. Like the original trilogy and don't make it complicated. Because then when you make things complicated, there's more things to think about, more things to fight over. I don't like fighting. So, but that's just me.
I'm going to add because I'm sure like someone's already downvoted this video by this point.
Or their fingers hovering over the.
I'm going to elaborate a little bit. I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you like Star Wars or if you're like a big fan of. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying there's been a lot of like shittiness in the Star Wars fandom over the past like 2 decades that eventually, like with the whole like stuff with The Last Jedi, which is a movie I actually really like, and the stuff with Kelly Marie Tran, I just got to a point where I decided that I just didn't. I'm like I don't like those movies enough to really engage with it, and
Mhm.
this fan base is kind of making me not want to engage with it. So
Part of me wonders if every fan base for every game and movie and show and book series ever is like this. It's just that we have readily access to Reddit and Twitter that makes us see the collective crummy unconscious. Has Twitter done anything good?
No. Well, it brought us together, but that's about it.
it's gained us some followers.
Yeah.
People
Okay.
listening to the show.
It's done some good.
Actually, we gained a lot of new listeners on all of the shows when we all started being more active on Twitter. So
It's a necessary evil, is what that's as far as I'll go.
Yeah. Like the evolution of social media has certainly impacted, all of this, both good and bad. But I have a feeling like what you were going with, Cal, like the shitty fan base has always been there, but it was just never connected until the evolution of social media and the internet.
That's what I think. Because you go on subreddit for anything, your favorite game, one of my games that I'm really into, Dead by Daylight. You would think everybody is the biggest piece of shit ever in that game. The end fighting, the end game chat, blah, 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 for anything. You go to the Wheel of Time subreddit. There is nobody that hates the Wheel of Time series that just got released more than Wheel of Time fans. But if you deep dive, you realize that Wheel of Time fans hate the books more than anyone. So I feel like it is just easy to see the hate now. But also Star Wars fans are pretty cringe.
I was gonna say, and also when the fans are not just like bickering with each other over like whose lightsaber is bigger or whatever.
Oh, let them do that.
Let them do that. But when they actually start like attacking people over issues like race and gender, or in the case of like someone like Jake Lloyd, just the fact that they were a kid, like no.
You're an adult. Leave people alone, you losers. Yeah, you heard me. Yeah, it's man telling Twitter to leave people alone. It's like that's like putting a steak down on the floor to an untrained dog and telling it no and expecting it to listen.
Or Facebook to a boomer and telling them not to share a like Minions meme with like some stupid quote attached to it.
A Minions meme with a Viking quote. A quote from the show Vikings, I mean.
Right.
An uncredited quote from the show Vikings.
All right. Anyway, let's move on. So back to the game. So the
Yep.
game.
Yep.
Yeah. The rest of them reboot. Yeah.
They're toys.
Yeah, they're toys. This is Toy Story.
I am picking Andrea's outfit right now.
She's like a Barbie type deal.
Yeah. Yeah, she's Barbie. Matrix is Darth Vader. Bob is Babe. Bob is G.I. Joe. He's a real babe. What can I say?
He's a real babe, yeah.
And a real American hero.
Hack and Slash are a Coke and a Pepsi.
Yeah. Fong is a cup of yogurt, and he speaks like Yoda.
I should have known all of this was. I saw all the other ones except the mannequin. Like one, I was like, "What?" But there's so much Star Trek, Star Wars. Oh, there. I confused the two.
And yogurt, like being the name of the character that was a parody of Yoda in the movie Spaceballs.
We've established that these people were fans of Spaceballs, right?
Yeah, well, and even the version of Darth Vader that we see in this is like kind of reminiscent of Dark Helmet.
You get a Dark Helmet vibe?
I kind of get a Dark Helmet vibe from it. Oh God, I don't love Star Wars. What I do love is Spaceballs, though.
Oh yeah,
that
is a treat. No matter what year you watch it in, it ages like wine, like a fine wine too.
I rewatched,
especially the VHS part where they're rewinding it to watch the movie.
When will then be now? Soon.
Soon.
How soon? I rewatched it recently too. Like most of the jokes like kind of hold up. Like a lot of the times when you watch old comedies, you're like, oh, this hasn't aged well. And there's a couple jokes in the movie that haven't aged well, but by and large, for the most part, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We quickly find out that Bob asks Matrix, he's like, hey, so have you played this game before? And Matrix is like, no, I haven't. But then we see out the window our old pal, Rocky the Rabbit Raccoon, show up.
Eyes.
I'm like, oh no.
I like this user. He's like, and I'm sure I mentioned it in the couple of episodes he appeared in season 3, but he's like this like high energy, like cracked out like raccoon. Like I think he's hilarious.
Oh boy, snacks. Like very yeah. I like the user. This level is boring.
It's
like when we first watched this, sorry, go ahead.
Well, it's pretty barren, and it looks pretty barren. I think because of its scale, everything is so big that it makes everything
because they're all toy sized in a kitchen.
Yeah, so everything looks kind of empty just because it's so big.
It's just the way they like get rid of the rest of his lives is very. It's not as because the first time we saw this, there were multiple levels. And they tried killing him in different ways, and it was very all over the place. And he was in a subway, and then on a highway in the desert, and a little bit of everything. And this just kind of feels like like an indie game in pre-release.
It's a half-baked idea.
Yeah.
We can blow through this game too. The basic like gist of it is they like get rid of a couple of his lives. They prevent him from like getting an extra life from the cookie jar, which seems to be his goal. And Enzo uses hack and or slash to build a pod racer and like fly across. It's literally a pod racer.
I got the pod racer thing, and yet I didn't get the manic. It's a pod racer. I'm surprised he didn't say pod racing is wizard or something like that. Yeah, because they get shaken up and they're like, oh, we're gonna blow. And then there's some weird joke that I didn't get. And it's like, not like that. And I'm like, wait a second. Is that a fart or a sex joke?
I'm gonna go to the reboot wiki. Reboot wiki. What was the name of this episode? Life's a glitch.
Life's a glitch.
Life's a glitch.
Did you get the Star Trek? So the fly, the teleportation kind of like thing to separate Bob and Glitch. It didn't work.
No, that one didn't work. The next thing he tried didn't work. In fact, it actually brought another binome into the machine with him.
Do you know what that was, Lady Glitch?
No, educate me.
It was another Star Trek.
Why am I surprised at this point?
It was, yeah. What? It's either Star Wars or it seems like the creators of the show were fans of one star blank and not the other. Because they've made fun of Star Wars and they constantly celebrate Star Trek.
Yeah.
So they're Trekkies. And yeah, it's a...
I don't think that they make fun of Star Wars per se.
Not made fun of, but at least in this episode, it's taken lightly. They take little light jabs at it, let's say. But yeah, the transporter doesn't work. He brings back, is that number one or is it just the make it so guy? Can't quite remember. He's brushing his teeth though, so he was interrupted in his pre-bedtime toothbrushes.
I don't even have the episode in front of me, so I am going by memory.
One thing I liked about Andrea is that she's a very sporty surf girl. I'm not a Spice Girl. I don't really know how to describe like her like preppy her look.
She looks like a mall girl.
There we go. And her expression is almost constantly kind of locked in like a smile.
Yeah, and they make a joke about it when they get out of the game too.
And when she's really angry at some point in it, her eyes are angry and her teeth are like chattering, but like her mouth is in a...
There's a face that she makes during the game that's going to be the artwork for the episode.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say, because I can't think of another one.
It's probably the same face.
It's such a crazy face. I love it because she's clearly pissed, but her mouth is locked in a smile. I dig it. But Andrea is the one who brings Fong yogurt, Fongurt to the edge of the game. Right. And I'm trying to think of how many times we've seen the edge of the game before.
A couple of times. Bad Bob, because...
Right, but there was weird stuff going on in Bad Bob. Well, anyways, the edge of the game is purple, and they set up the extraction device. She says something like, "Why do you talk like that?" to Fong. Can't remember why. And all of these tentacles, these tubes, shoot out of the device and attach to the GameCube from the inside and suck it good, suck data.
I wonder if like sucking the energy from the cube on the outside like actually depletes its energy, but from the inside gets its data. Because remember,
right,
when Hack and Slash were sucking the energy out of the GameCube in When Games Collide, and it was like all wonky and shit.
You have to do it from the inside. Fong's smart. Fong's smart character.
For design. And speaking of things that are science, we actually cut to Bob, who's looking through all of the archive vid windows, having a ball, wondering why shit doesn't work. And he pulls up a specific vid window, which replays the tear splitting into 3 that we saw during Gigabyte. And then he gets an idea. But what is that idea? I don't know just yet. We got to keep watching.
So how did he kill the user? Andrea throws her purse. It chokes the poor raccoon.
They keep
This
chucking
is the user I like more than most other users. Like, you're like, this is just a kid playing a raccoon game. He doesn't deserve to be ganged up on. Let him eat the cookies.
Yeah, and so I also forgot to mention that when they recognize Rocky the rabid raccoon, Bob was like, "Oh, I thought you said you'd never played this game before," and he's like, "Well, I haven't, but we recognize that user, so this must be a new version." And I'm like, "Cool, it's a sequel. This is like Rocky the Rabid Raccoon Part 3, Rocky's Revenge."
Rocky's Revenge.
Um,
Rocky the Rabid Raccoon Part 3, Rock Hard.
Rocky's Chocolate Chip Adventure.
There we go.
Now
Free to play.
In early access.
But they end up getting him. His last death is they get him to chug hot sauce.
Yeah, so he chokes on Andrea's purse and falls off the table, and then Bob, who has like slipped and fallen in some goo or something, is like, yeah, right, it's yogurt. He's like, Luke, use the sauce, and my eyes like rolled so far out of my head
You flew back and your chair fell.
that they popped out of my head and fell onto the floor and rolled all the way into my kitchen.
pretty far.
Yeah. And Mannequin is like, what did you say?
What did you say? He talks like this all game.
Yeah. They're like actively mocking the kid who played Anakin Skywalker's acting.
Lest we forget, everyone mocked Mark Hamill's acting too.
In what?
In the original movies.
Oh, really?
At the time, yeah. Like my uncle, all the people that before the internet and all of that stuff, they were like, "Oh wow, like people like him nowadays." Weird. Like everybody thought he was like the worst actor on like the film by far. They just didn't have the internet to shit talk him. I guess. Whereas when we grew up, we grew with him also as a voice actor.
Yeah.
And
Hawk Knocker from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I forgot about that. And doesn't Jay like call him cock gobbler or something right before he gets punched in the dick?
Oh, I can't
Something
remember.
like that, yeah.
Anyway, so Luke used the sauce.
Yeah.
What did you say? The sauce. And then he like knocks this bottle of like XXX hot sauce off the table, and it falls into Rocky's mouth, and he like flips his shit and like breathes fire and dies. Game over.
In the post-game like pep talk, they all say, "Hey, Enzo, good job." And Enzo's like, "Wow, Bob said good job." And Matrix is like, "You did good, kid." And he's like, "Matrix 2?"
Like, oh my God.
All I need is Dot to say I'm a good boy, and then it's the perfect day.
And this is where Andrea says something to akin to like, "I will never smile again."
Yeah. Yeah, her face was stuck in that Barbie smile.
Yeah.
Pixelacious. Oh, new word trying out. She calls him Little Sparky.
Pretty sure he said pixelacious before.
Yeah.
Little Andrea brought the word pixelacious into the reboot world.
Oh, was it her?
It was.
Oh, all right.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, when they did episode 2 of season 3, and she boots into the biker babe, and she's like, "Pixelacious, I'm a biker babe."
Right. Oh, I forgot. Even when she was a kid, she had a bike theme going. Yeah.
Right.
She calls little Enzo Little Sparky, and I'm like, If that's a pet name for Matrix, who is your partner,
If that's a
I'm
pet
just-
name, if that's a pet name for the grown ass man that you're boning,
that you're
calling what is essentially his little brother the same pet name, a little weird.
thank you. You too? Okay. Lady Goat's just like, shut up. But yeah, if like, you know, my partner called me like geez, I don't know, like it's and she doesn't, thankfully, but like, oh man, people that call their partner daddy in public. Oh they
That face.
I can't when I hear people say that at the club that I work at. Like that is just no.
Oh, when people call themselves it, ugh.
Yeah.
That's no, man. No.
I think we forgot to mention that something that Bob did earlier when he was in the war room, and this is where like everyone comments that, wow, like Bob doesn't seem to care about the game at all. That doesn't seem like him.
Yeah.
He had told Dot that he wanted her to release a tear right as the game left. And so when she did that, he created he used it to create a portal, and he flew into it. When the game left, we cut back to the shot of the portal and him saying, we hear him off screen say glitch splitter, and he's trying to like split the portal from the inside out with him in it. So he's trying to use the portal to separate himself from glitch. Except it goes horribly wrong. The portal explodes, and he falls out frozen in carbonite by way of Marvel's Captain Universe.
Oh yeah, and Dot watched it all from the war room on a vid window, and then she comes running out, and she's all.
It's a cool visual effect.
It is.
It's like the universe is like
It's gonna be like
embedded
it's all
on him.
He kind of looks like, he reminds me of the superhero Captain Universe.
Oh yeah, that chromatic like universe, metallic kind of sheen. Yeah.
Just Google a picture of Marvel's Captain Universe. I'm sure there'll be a movie or a TV show on Disney Plus or something eventually.
I thought all the Moon Knight stuff were memes. But no.
No, that show's coming out. I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, me too.
I've read quite a few Moon Knight comics.
You should have seen the look of disappointment on my face when I learned that meme panel where he throws like sais and knives and he's like, random bullshit, go. That's not actually what he says in the comic. I was
yeah, so they run to him, and the pose that he's in is the Han Solo frozen in carbonite pose from The Empire Strikes Back.
Seems a little painful.
A little bit, especially to Andrea, because she tries to poke him with one of her nails and it completely breaks that nail off.
Yeah. And we cut to a brief little scene with because they've called the Guardians for help, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so Turbo is like, oh, we'll make sure that Bob gets the best service of the supercomputer, and if there's any updates, we'll let you know. And the vid window closes, and Dot and OG Bob, or I could just be like Dot and Bob.
It's me, Bob, the
Dot
original. I'm here. Don't know how my key tool works. Don't know how games work. Herp derp. Nobody can tell that I'm not the original Bob.
I may have the same voice actor, but my voice is deeper now for some reason. I'm intentionally making
fuck up Megatron.
Yeah. Where's that Megabyte guy? Let's go kick his ass.
Oh, he's already dead? Too bad.
So OG Bob starts talking about he wants, my presence doesn't help. Maybe I should get out of here, go back to the supercomputer, blah, blah, blah. Dot gets like all soft and doe-eyed again. She's like, this is your home now. Please stay. Blink, blink.
Promise me you won't go.
He changed his mind pretty damn quick.
Okay. I was gonna bring this up. He does a complete fucking 180, going from like, man, I'm just causing like so many problems
I'm just gonna
and
peace.
like, I'll just leave. I can go back to the supercomputer. Like, I've got a whole nother life. Like, I don't remember anything anyway. Like, I've got a whole nother life. I can go just start
I'll go
somewhere
hang out with
else.
the Guardians and teach at the academy, something.
Yeah, yeah. And she's like, no, you can't go. I love you. Like, this is your home. And he's like, yes, it is, Dot. Marry me.
Thank you.
Like, wait, what?
There's more dialogue than that, and they kiss like 7 times or some bullshit. But he
Yeah.
goes from, you know what? Like, yeah, there's this thing, but it's like awkward that I'm here. I'm gonna peace out. You can't go. I'm in love with you. Then how about we get married and stay together forever tomorrow? And I'm like, whoa.
Dot's like, you can't go away again. He's like, I promise.
Then I won't, I promise. And I'm like, you went from being ready to just, you know what? I'm not even gonna pack. I got a backpack, spare some clothes. I'm gonna go. You went from, okay, I'll talk to you later. It's I'm not even gonna say goodbye to anybody, to let's be together forever. And the ceremony's tomorrow. Real quick.
And in fact, the ceremony is tomorrow. Spoilers
Yeah.
for next episode.
There you go.
Well, anyway, that was the episode.
I can't wait for Bob to, anyone listening to this probably already knows, I haven't seen any of these episodes.
Yeah.
But if I had to predict, Glitch Bob breaks out of the carbonite and shows
I
up
object.
just in time to be like, I object. And everybody in the pews to go and clutch their pearls. Well, I can only hope. So we'll see.
I have to applaud your restraint, Cal. Like you've said you've never seen season 4, and you're literally going episode by episode and avoiding spoilers.
I know. I just hit
Yeah.
stop, and I'm like, because the way I'm viewing it is in one big chunk too. And yeah, I just hit stop and I go, well, there we go. I have incredible willpower. Like, friends will come over for like a birthday or something. They'll leave like, I don't know, whatever it is they were drinking over. And the next time they visit, they're like, booze is still there. And they're like, wow, I can't believe this is still here. Sweet. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm always one of those people.
yeah. Next time Christopher's over, his drink is like still there, just fine. And he's like, oh, holy shit, this is here.
Cup roundup every couple of days. I walk through my house because I have a plethora of cups, and I'm like, oh, this still has coffee in it, and there's nothing growing in it. Here we go. It's still good.
I've
You have an iron stomach.
I've stated many times over the years that I can't keep booze in the house because I'll just drink it. Like, I could never be a person who has like a liquor cabinet. I'm like, it's like 2 PM on a Saturday. I'm kind of bored, don't have anything going on. All right, it's whiskey o'clock.
It's whiskey and laundry time, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I just, like, if it's there, I'll drink it.
Mhm.
And that's not to say, like, I know that sounds really, really bad, but like, also if it's not there, like, I'm fine. You know what that mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it's there, I will absolutely drink it. If it's not there, though, I'm like, yeah, okay.
You're not looking for like, you're looking between the couch cushions for change and like starting to look at your electronics to pawn to go.
Starting to wonder if I will miss that Xbox in the pawn shop for a little while just to get a Mickey.
Start eyeballing your Cheetor collection.
I have been there with various things at various points in my life, but I'm not there at now.
Not with the Cheetors. God.
No,
Damn
not
it.
with the Cheetos. God damn it!
They are sacred.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. That's it for season 4, episode 6. Life's a glitch.
Yep.
Life's a glitch, and then you
Get
nullified. Here on Alphanumeric, we have a little rating system. It's a 4-tier rating system. From terrible to amazing, we have this is bad, very bad.
Mhm.
2, I don't think so. 2, That Was Easy Enough,
Mm.
and the greatest, Alphanumeric. So terrible, okay, great.
Right.
Lady Glitch,
So,
what do you think? What do you think of Life's a Glitch?
I don't think so. Flat out. I was not a fan of this episode. As we had discussed at the beginning, this is pretty much a filler episode for the last two of this arc. It was kind of interesting watching Cheetor Bob kind of be unorthodox in his behavior with regard to, hey, I need to fuck around with this tear and we still have a game out there. And it's like, you're a full-fledged guardian. Shouldn't you like wait? You know? So watching the dips and shifts in his attitude with regard to whatever else is going around, that was kind of fun to watch. But for the most part, I'm just not a fan of this episode.
Man, what a dip shift. He said dips and shifts. That's all immediately what popped into my head.
That feels like a reboot, like slang word.
Well, Enzo does call someone a dip switch at one point.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there you go. It's fitting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, there are a few good things in it. Siege,
Yes.
what do you think?
I don't think so. I liked the game, but the rest of it was boring.
Yeah.
It was people calling mouse on it was a lot of vid window calls.
That didn't lend anything to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I also much like having characters talk on a telephone in other shows, an excessive amount of vid window calls is lazy writing.
Well, not only that, I mean, episode 1 of season 1 opened with a vid window well, not open, but very shortly we were introduced to Megabyte talking to Bob through a vid window, and we were like,
well,
it's a weird
and
intro.
yeah, and that's actually kind of breaking a screenwriting rule right there. But
Mhm.
yeah, an excessive amount of vid window calls. The stuff with mouse was whatever.
Okay. She might as well have not have been in the episode.
No, she didn't contribute anything to the episode.
She got Bob through to the archives, but that was about it.
Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, just as easily, they could have. Bob's with Glitch. Tell me that Glitch can't do a cracking, some sort of code cracking maneuver.
And why did Bob didn't really need to go through all these failed attempts to actually be frozen in carbonite? The first thing could have just done that to him.
Oh, you're right. He didn't need access to the archives or the password to do what he did. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'm giving this.
Yeah, so I'm going with that was easy enough. It's a very not that was easy enough. I don't think so. I'm with you, Lady Glitch. This is a filler episode, but it does get some points in my head because I did like the game.
Gets so it's unanimous. I'm giving it a I don't think so. Yeah, a lot of it was just filler. Cut to the principal office and Specs is talking to Dot. Cut to Fong and he's talking to blah blah blah. Nothing. It's just there to remind us about certain things. Oh, remember, we're still looking after Dot and Enzo's dad. So his icon is still viral. Oh, nobody knows what that's about.
Yeah.
So there's one thing though that makes it almost okay, is that I kind of really feel for Bob Glitch, because he's only doing this not because he's not comfortable, not because he wants to separate. He's only doing it because he's afraid that Dot won't choose him.
Mm-hmm. He's
and
doing
like,
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little extreme.
And it doesn't seem like Dot is appreciative of that, because it's the second the dude's in a coma, you're fucking his twin brother.
Yeah.
Bad timing. Wait for him to wake up. It's okay. You're in an accident, right? You're in the hospital, right? You're partner comes and visits you and it's to break up. It's that, and I knew it was coming too. I'm like, fuck, of course, the moment that he's incapacitated, she's going to choose the other Bob. Yeah. Ugh, boo. The other Bob, who is clearly like not Bob, but whatever, we'll cover that when we get there.
He's clearly not Bob, but he looks and sounds enough like Bob that it's okay.
I say things like, geez, what, he missed his line. He's like, oh, this is not good. This really isn't good. When we were in that Pokemon game. And I'm like, that's not what you say.
This could be good. This could be not good. Yeah. Anyway.
That's it, folks. Unanimous. I don't think so from all of us.
And that was episode 49 of Alphanumeric. Best way to support the show, go to patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB. Starting at the $5 and up tier, you get access to bonus preamble audio week in and week out of this show and all the other shows that we do here over at Lasercomb Productions. You also get a monthly-ish commentary track. And a new show that I'm just about to debut around the same time this goes live is a spin-off of our preambles called What Are You Watching? It's basically just where we talk about movies and TV shows. There's no real format to it, but it's kind of separating like the entertainment talk out of the preamble conversations. Leave the preamble stuff for more serious matters, you know.
That's right. Like what we're eating and our shitty neighbors. and
Cal's very recurring webcam issues.
Spicy stories from the club.
Oh yeah. Sometimes we do talk about some spicy stuff on there.
Oh yeah.
So go and give them a listen. I even put I've started putting recaps in the descriptions of like loose like recaps of what we talk about.
Oh, there we go.
In each. So go check that out. $10 tier, you get all that plus you get our weekly current event news and current events program, Lasercomb Tonight. And you also get to pick a show for us to do basically what we just did on this episode of Alphanumeric, but a random episode of a show of your choosing for mine and Cal's other podcast, the Lasercomb Podcast. We've done quite a few patron-sponsored episodes now, and that's always been a lot of fun. So if you want to get in on that, patreon.com/lasercomb. Social media, if you want to follow us on Facebook, go to facebook.com/lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. If you want to follow the show proper on Twitter, you can at alphanumeric pod, POD, or you can follow me. I am at Lasercomb. Someone say what they're at on Twitter.
Usually you lead in with it to somebody else.
No, I was pointing. Dang it. At least this is humorous. Did Spotify stop working? So audio listeners, we all just like pointed at each other like the Spider-Man meme. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at NeoCal, Neo NEO_KAL.
And you can follow me on Twitter as well at LadyGlitch619.
So go give any and all of us a follow. We will be back next week with episode 50 of Alphanumeric.
Woo!
We got here.
We did it.
Yeah, we did.
That's a big number, episode 50 of Alphanumeric, where we're going to be talking about the the penultimate episode of season 4 of ReBoot, and the penultimate episode of ReBoot overall.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun. So keep
no bot of the bride.
Yeah.
No bot of the bride. So keep an eye out for that. And until then, I've been one of your hosts, The Siege.
And I'm NeoCal.
And I'm Lady Glitch.
And until next week, I don't know why I have been podcasting like this.
Oh, it hurts the soul. It hurts the soul.
Do you
That's
even
all
have
I
a
can say.
Much
Does
like
anyone?
listening to this show.
That's right. Yeah. You didn't say do we even have a soul? You said do you even have a soul?
Yeah, I corrected you, Cal.
What about me makes it seem like, okay, folks, thanks for listening.
If any one of us doesn't have a soul, it's
Reboot will return after these messages.